Hello, all you 90-day fiance addictees. What would you call us? Addictors? I don't know. I'm going to do my opinion of what happened last night on the 90-day fiance the other way, okay? Now, I'm only covering the people that they showed. I got my notes. There was some interesting thing, you know. But do you watch before the 90 days? You know, I watch them all, but I'm not doing videos on all of them. Did you see poor Sheila's mom died, fell through the stairs? They broke because they weren't hammered down well, and they all get up in the morning and she's dead? How tragic. So we're all wondering what's going to do with that particular relationship, you know, because I don't think she's going to want to leave home because her daddy only has, I guess, her, you know, and maybe a brother. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. One thing I want to clarify to you folks, when I give these opinions that are my opinions, remember, I'm a different generation than probably most of you are. Because I'm a baby boomer, but I'm a baby boomer in my 70s. Yeah. So we were brought up a whole different way than a lot of the kids, I say kids, the kids in these programs, because a lot of them are, they're younger than my own kids. So, of course, some of my viewpoints might be considered a little old-fashioned to some of you, but what the heck? So let's get started on Mary and Brandon. Okay. So, of course, you know, it starts out with he's meeting her grandparents. And, of course, the grandfathers had asked, what did he do when he first saw her? And he kind of worked his way around that. Oh, we're just so happy to see you and see her brother and all that kind of stuff. And Brandon mentions that grandfather, he has what you call a dad resting bitch face. He does. So he looks like a stone cold killer. Didn't say that out loud to them. He said it, you know, to us. So they go inside, and the house is really nice because it's new. And I guess the grandparents are living there because their place was destroyed in a typhoon. So the only problem is I think there's not much of a roof on it because there are tons of bugs. I mean, a lot of bugs, you know, spiders, ants, cockroaches, all kinds of bugs in there, and they're all up around the ceiling. And it looks like the ceiling isn't really done well. So Mary has him bring his suitcases and things into her room. She shows her room is, right? So then he knows now, he's learned that if he wants to even touch Mary, he's got to ask permission out of respect. Now, see, they're taught to have respect over there, you know, for the grandparents. So he asks if it's okay if he sleeps in the same room with Mary. And Grandma says yes, but you can't make love or anything. How these two were horny as hell for each other. Gonna get through that, right? Well, then Mary, admits to him that, you know, or to us, that she's still a virgin. Of course, don't knock anything over. Of course, we know that she had said that he was her first kiss, so stands to reason. And that she doesn't feel she's ready to have sex anyway, that she like to wait till they're married, which is what their tradition is. So, okay, kudos for Mary. I mean, she surprised me. So, he shows us his boxer briefs that he brought to wear on the night that they're supposedly, you know, will make love. He thought it would be that night. And they're these blue shiny ones, and he talks about how there's a bulge in them in the crotch. So she can see his bulge. Now, he's having a hard time understanding why they can't have sex when, Callie, getting in a bag here, when they've had phone sex, and he says he's pooped in front of her. That's like, oh, you know, we can do without that visual. Because remember, they recorded each other all day long. Okay. So, while they're talking about not to have sex. They hear this noise or whatever. It was perfectly timed. Turns out it's a gecko. And it's climbing up the, that's when we kind of see the ceiling. If there's no ceiling, you see the boards, and it goes up through the rafters. And I thought, oh my God, if I was there, I'm a huge animal lover. I would have been talking to the damn thing, 'cause that's how I am. So they do end up going to bed. But first, I got to mention, though, when she showed him the rest of the house, they have a gorgeous, it's got the TV on it, but it's like a big credenza thing with shelves and stuff, and it's gorgeous. So back to bed. They go to bed, but she sleeps at the head and he sleeps at the foot facing the wall. So we'll see how long that lasts. Okay, then we move to Danielle and Johan. They showed them again, and boy, was I surprised when Danielle's hair was about down here. But in further observation, to me, it looks like she must have extensions on because they look like a different color than her regular hair. And I don't know. I don't know if I like the long hair on her. I think when you see her whole body, the longer hair makes her look shorter and heavier. You know what I mean? Because she's kind of a chunky gal anyway. So I'm not sure about that long hair. But anyway, she was excited because she's picking up her girlfriends at the airport. And she turns on her New York driving and cuts totally in front of somebody that wouldn't let her in, at the first street from a side street. She goes over the curb with her tire. So,
What do you guys think he got in trouble?
Oh, hold on. I've got a Canadian phone call just come in. I'll be right back. And I'm back. Couldn't miss that call from some old friends in Canada who we haven't spoken to for over a year and a half or so. So anyway, moving on. We were on Danielle and Johan. Out of breath from going back and forth. Her friends do arrive, and they luckily know the language. So they're able to carry on regular conversation with Johan, And he's not working. I guess his butcher shop, if you want to call it that. I had to close it down because the spot they were in, that building, the landlord wanted it back to use it for an office or something. And so apparently Johan hadn't signed a contract or anything, so he had to get out of there. So he's not working. But I guess Danielle, she says they're living off her savings, and she's doing yoga and stuff, I guess, online and, a bunch of things like that. So they ask if they're going to want to have kids, and he says he'd like to have 2. Well, Danielle is already 42 years old. So I have a feeling that it'd be hard for her to get pregnant, because now back in my day, if anyone had a child in their 40s, the odds of them having problems, the child, were a little greater, like autism, what's the other one? Anyway, different issues like that. So, nowadays the girls are all waiting so long to get pregnant and then have a heck of a time getting pregnant. And then, look at the autism rates right now. Just my theory. So she did tell them that they had counseling, so they're doing a lot better now. They're learning how to compromise and argue with each other. Okay, so then we get to Julio and Kirsten. Now, you remember last week, he took her to meet his mother. His mother was very upset about her son leaving. I felt for the woman. I know how it feels. My generation, you didn't typically leave your family like kids nowadays do. We raise them to go off on their own, and they do it. So anyway, this week they were on their way to a Halloween party. So this must have all been recorded last Halloween time, around there. And he tells her, just to be yourself, but to be louder. She says, so you're telling me to be myself, but I need to be louder? Now, okay, Bob and I travel a lot, and it's been mainly Europe for the past 20 years. And the viewpoints that most people who are not in the United States are that Americans are very loud, which we are, and that we all have tons of money. And so they have all these ideas, that just don't quite, the stereotype that they think that Americans are. So they get there, and it's first, I'm messing up here. The first place they're going to is to meet the rest of his family, okay? And they're all playing like dominoes or something. And that's when he tells her she needs to be louder. And it is louder there, but it's a group of people. I mean, of course, we're used to it. So they're all upset that he's moving. How come they're just hearing about it? Because they said to her, "Are you going to move to the States when you get married?" And she says, "No." And that's how they find out that he's planning on going within 3 months to live in the Netherlands. So, his family's upset, and they suggest, well, why can't you live 2 months here in the U.S. and then 2 months in the Netherlands, and then decide? Of course, she's not appreciating that he's kind of put her in this spot of the family all finding out while she's there, when they've been dating for a year. So she looks pretty uncomfortable. So then the next day they go to the Halloween party. And that's where, they're dressed kind of like devils. And so he walks in, he's got this, gorgeous model-looking blonde walking with him. And they finally start talking with his friend, his best friend, who did know about her because he took him to the airport. And his friend puts his foot in it and suggests, why don't they live alone, each in their own place? Because they both have said how they argue a lot about things, like she's not as neat, where he's real OCD-ish, and, that they're always kind of arguing and stuff. So he says, well, why don't you, both live in your own places? So that really upset her, because Julio started laying that way. He says, she says, so you can have sex with me 5 nights a week, but you can't live with me, and she got a point. So I don't know what's going to happen there with those two. So then, lastly, TJ and Kim. Now, remember when we left last week, she was very upset with the lack of the way he did their place, okay? So they open it with him downstairs venting with his family, his mom and dad and brother, and boy, and they're all yelling, how he worked so hard. He gave up working at, to earn money. Any money he would get, he was putting in it, and she's so ungrateful, and he's crying because he tried so hard, and she's been so disrespectful. Now remember, it's different in India, the customs are different, gals. Got to remember that if you're going to go live there. You either start moving towards their way of thinking or don't go there. Expect them when they come here to take on our customs. So at one point, I guess he suggested that she could come sleep with he and his mom and brother in his mom's bed if she wants. No, she didn't. She stayed upstairs, and she had on this a onesie with a hood and ears. I forget what kind of animal it was, a teddy bear or something. I don't know. So, while he's venting to his parents downstairs, she's up there crying. He doesn't listen to her. He didn't do anything like she wanted. And he's talking about how he went to try to find the best kind of tiles she wanted and all this other stuff. So I kind of feel for him, because he thought he was doing right, trying to do something like how she wants it, and that's not their custom, but he was trying to, and she just acts so ungrateful. But Americans are also stereotyped to be very me people, it's me, especially younger generations. Now see, there you get the difference between me and some of the younger generations. It's always what they want. And, let's not get into that. So anyway, he's up there. First off, he goes up and he's whispering to her like this, asking how she is. And it gradually moves to yelling because he hated it. Hated that that she called him a dick, right? That's the most insulting thing she could ever call him. And that all she does is cuss, there's no respect for anybody. And but towards the end, he calls her a bastard. Which I thought was kind of a funny name to call her. But that's what he called her. And what do I have on here? No what? No JB? No, I don't know what it says. I was in bed when I was taking notes watching it. So, so I think that will do it, guys. So next week, what's going to happen? Stay tuned because I'll be on. So please comment below, share, like, and subscribe. And I hope you're all having a wonderful week. I can't wait till next Monday night. And I'll try to post it by Tuesday afternoon like I am with this one. I love you all. Bye.